You might have to pinch your nose for that one, but a win is a win is a win. The Broncos go across the pond, and even though they might have served something up even less delectable than one of those English breakfasts or a pile of haggis or whatever they're up to over there, they emerge victorious 13-11. The Broncos are 4-2, remain tied for first in the AFC West, though obviously the Chargers have the tiebreaker there. Joining me again this week, it's David Talks Broncos, or David Talks Sports, David Talks Buffs. Find him wherever. And then Mike Carmelini of Mic'd Up once again is back with me. Fellas, what's the immediate thought running through your head as we discuss this game here?
Man, I'd like to say, being 100 years old, I'd love to call this a defensive struggle, a classic defensive game, mano-y-mano, and they're fighting it out in the trenches. But I think the right word is the title of this stream on your show, Zach. Ugly. It was ugly all around. The Broncos were ugly. The Jets were just more ugly. So I'm going to try and stay positive. I'm going to say fortunate. We were fortunate to get out of there with a win. Let's go 4-2.
David?
Yeah, I think it's not one word, but I'll just go with, hey, we won another one-score game. How about that? I'm going to be happy about that. Before I forget, Zach, Mike, again, thanks for collaborating
yes,
with me.
Dude.
Yeah, I got to give
David.
a shout out really quick to ProfitX. They're helping me pay the bills. And while the Broncos did not cover the spread, man, you can still find the best spreads and odds because it's peer-to-peer sports prediction. ProfitX, use promo code Dave. Get up to $200 in profit cash in your first 30 days playing. And again, while our Broncos did not cover the spread this week, 7.5. You know what? On ProfitX, they had amazing odds for Colorado plus 140 beating Iowa State. So I'm a happy man on ProfitX this weekend, thanks to them. But man, hey, we found a way to win a game. We overcame a lot. And our defense, man, this was like a 2015 type of defensive performance where the offense, you can blame them for some of the points our opponent put up, as well as special teams. You can't fault it all in this game was the defense. They were perfect.
I mean, they absolutely were. It was an incredible performance from them. -10 passing yards from the Jets on the day. That's the worst in Jets franchise history. And we're not talking about a proud franchise history when it comes to throwing the ball. The lowest by any NFL team in the past 27 years. The last time an NFL team had that poor a passing performance, I wasn't alive. I don't think my parents weren't even pregnant with me. I wasn't even a thought that existed. That's how far back you got to go. We are talking about a wildly great defensive performance from the Broncos. It doesn't look like, 11 points isn't much, but it kind of got deflated because of all the opportunities the offense gave them. You have the safety on the holding penalty. Franklin fumble sets up a field goal, and then the special teams with a bad kick coverage allows a field goal. I do want to hit some of the comments before we get too far into the meat of it. I'm seeing Big Mike in the chat. Know him a lot from Twitter. Not used to seeing him in the chat, so thank you for joining us over here, Mike. LTB PR saying hit the like button. No matter where you're watching us, please hit the like button. It helps all three of us out a good bit. David Youngkin saying play calling is the main issue no matter what anybody wants to say. I think that was true today. There was some ugly play calling mistakes. D Bronx kind of echoing that thought, saying worst coached game of the Peyton era. David from Colorado, though, kind of on the other end of the spectrum, saying this is a game under past regimes the team would have lost. I think let's start things there. I do think Sean Payton, understandably, is going to be the big talking point from this one. I told you guys I was going to create the weekly improvement meter because we're doing it. I don't care what Sean Payton says. We're doing the Bo Nix, Sean Payton weekly improvement meter. let's start with Bo Nix, just because I think we'll have a little bit less to say about him. What were your takes on Bo Nix's performance today?
I guess I'm going first. Am I going
Yeah,
first?
go ahead,
Sorry, I'll do a better job driving this, Mike.
All right.
Tell us what you think.
I wish you would. I'm gonna say last week I think I trended him up just a little bit. But I'm kind of flat on him this week. I don't think Bo Nix had a bad game today. Honestly, I thought we had a classic Franklin drop. We had there were a few other issues there, but I mean, for what was put in front of him, the opportunities he was given, yeah, I thought Bo was okay. My meter kind of stayed flat. No problems with Bo today. He certainly did not put the team on his shoulders, though, and do that thing that great QBs do. He hasn't started doing that yet, other than a few small examples. So, yeah, I'm going to go flat on Bo. David?
This is a strange approach. I like give him like an incomplete grade for today. Like I thought he had a good first half, right? And then, I mean, how many passing attempts did he have in the second half? Maybe less than 5. It feels like that. It feels like we didn't even pass the ball in the second half.
I think he had 11, if I'm remembering correctly.
Really?
11 or 12. It got up there a lot on that the game-winning field goal drive. Outside of that, it was about 5 or 6, about the number you're saying.
Yeah. Let me take that back then. You're right. He did lead us in another fourth quarter comeback. So, I'll give like a half a tick up, man, a slight improvement, or maybe just kind of where around Mike's at. It's slightly positive. He did enough to get us the win. I said coming into this week, if we get game manager Bo Nix, again, we win. And this is not how I thought it would be. But he did just enough for us to get the win, and he was not a liability.
1 sack. Yeah. He took 1 sack, which, in his defense, I think we were deep, backed up, and there wasn't much there. So a good sack, if there's such a thing, and a touchdown in a low scoring game. So yeah, he did his job, but yeah, nothing special. So uptick, man. I'll go with David. Slight uptick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it was him continuing to build on what we've seen since the Bengals game. I think the first 3 weeks of the season, he was good against the Colts, but for the large part, generally speaking, the first 3 weeks of the season were disappointing from Bo. And I think these last 3 weeks have been a good step in the right direction. Not perfect necessarily. I do still want to see more. I will say, though, there is still time for this team to round into form. This is a tangent. I'll get back to Bo in a second, but I think it applies to Bo as well as the rest of the team. I see a lot of, and I think it's all very fair and very valid, but a lot of frustration with how sloppy the team is so far. And this does not look like what we were hoping it was going into the year. And even though it's October now and Sean Payton's Mr. October and everything, it's not looking how people want it to look. Week 7 of last year was the Saints game. That I watched the first half from Bo Nix and the offense in that Saints game. It is, if you thought this game was sloppy, that one was like different level sloppy. Bo looked like not a functional quarterback for the first half of that game. The week 5 bit, I think that was Raiders, if I'm remember, or no, that was the Chargers game where first half inept, kind of turns it on down the stretch. There's plenty of time. The Broncos team we're remembering from 2024 was really the Broncos team from week 7, 8, 9 onwards. And I think so. With that in mind, plenty of time for this team to still, and Bo Nix, to round into what we want him to see. I think these last 3 weeks have been a step in the right direction. But yeah, I guess I would be a little more negative on the second half. Largely, it is an incomplete. They didn't pass the ball much in the second half. I will say it's not like they were just hammering run, though. I need to find the tweet. I tweeted this out. I'm pretty sure the run pass split prior to the field goal where they took the lead, because at that point you're going to want to go more run heavy. You have the lead, time's running out. Prior to that point, it was an 11-10 run pass split in favor of, 10 10-11 run pass split in favor of the pass. So they leaned pass in the second half. It was just not working. And I think it was very conservative. It was a lot of screens, a lot of stuff right by the line of scrimmage. They kind of, I think they saw how inept the Jets offense was in the first half and decided all we have to do is just not lose this game. And I think they turtled. It's something I think we see more in college than the pros, but you'll see a college team get out to like a 24-point lead or something and go, oh, we got this one. We can just take our foot off the gas. And it just opens the door for that crazy comeback. And because of some big mistakes in the first half, the Broncos didn't have that massive lead. And when they turtled it, it really opened the door for the Jets to come back. So I do think Bo holds some blame for not moving the ball in the second half because they were giving him opportunities through the air, but that first half was fantastic. I think that might have been the best half of football we've seen Bo play all year. He was the rhythm of the offense was fantastic. He was hitting the back of his drop. He was firing out to his receiver on time, on target, consistently, working through the offense. Like the 10. Sorry, I know I keep going. We're going to get into the offense and everything and how they're disappointing. I don't think we should overlook the first half of this game. Like, yes, it was only 10 points. So much of that is the Matt Parrott penalties. This offense was getting anything and everything it wanted through the air for the first half of this game.
Yeah.
And then it was real sloppy in the second half. But like they're 3-4 plays away from this being a 24-0 halftime lead. And even despite a second half, we're coming on here like, man, they didn't close that game well, but 27-3 Broncos win. What else do you want to see? And because of, a couple Matt Parrott holdings, bad kick coverage, Troy Franklin fumble, we're not having that conversation. But I thought, scale of 1 to 10, I'd give Bo Nix like a 7 or 8 for this performance.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
How about the Sean Payton portion? This is going to be more negative. I know I just ranted for a while, but guys, ground me again here. Where are we at with Sean Payton? David, this time I'll start with you.
Dude, boo, Sean Payton, boo. The stock is going down weekly. What's the opposite of improvement? Whatever.
Regression.
Yeah, regression. Thank you.
Decline.
Still waking up from my nap.
Decline, yeah.
Dude, I got so many issues with Sean Payton, man. You saw Bo Nix do what against the Eagles in the fourth quarter? 18 points, was it? Something like that, or 21 points? I can't even remember. And again, like you said, Zach, we have a good first half. And maybe the reason I feel like we barely threw the ball at all is because, again, like you said, a lot of the stuff was like an extension of the run game in the second half when we were throwing the ball. A lot of stuff real close to the line of scrimmage. At least that's how it felt. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you put it perfectly, Zach. You turtled. You played too conservative. And yeah, man, like right now, this team is still getting a ton of penalties. Special teams is not being good. And I know this didn't really make a huge difference in the game, but it did irk me. What did Tyler Bidet do to lose his third running back job this week? What did he do? This guy, Tyler Bidet, gets in there like 3-4 plays a game, and all he does is make an impact with his 3-4 snaps, man, whether it's in pass pro or whether it's picking up a first down for us off of a long run or a pass completion over 10 yards, something like that. He also helps on special teams, which we could have used today. Why was Jaleel McLaughlin active, man? This guy was an absolute zero for getting activated today. And yeah, there was just a lot of decisions that I didn't like that Sean Payton made today. And I think, yeah, in terms of play calling, this is almost like the week 1 against the Titans, which is like, why did we feel a need to call the game in the way you did? That's how I feel with this game against the Jets.
Yeah. McLaughlin was painful. That's all.
I'm totally in agreement with David here, Zach. It felt like when the game started, I found myself going, hey, Sean's kind of in his bag today. Like for this brief moment, like I thought we're going to roll. There were receivers open, like really open. And that little touchdown play was brilliant to Adkins.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just like, I don't know if they turtled, but it felt like he got cute for a little while and it didn't pay off. Like he just wants to be so cute with some of these calls. He didn't need them. We had everybody open, and the Jets were just setting up to stop the run, which they, kind of did, right? Weren't they playing up in the box? I thought we were fine just letting Bo throw it around a little bit, and I love the tempo. Like they were like kind of quick tempo, and that's where Bo really does well. And then I don't know. I think for me, Sean Payton's lucky that Aaron Glenn was on the other side of the field, because he would look like the biggest dumbass if it wasn't for Aaron Glenn being the biggest dumbass, because I think Aaron Glenn blew that game for the Jets. And Sean had a bad night, man. If that's the question we're on, I was not impressed with that. And I don't know why Bidet wasn't there. I assumed you would have, Zach, some information, because was he on the injury list earlier this week or something? Or
I saw a comment about that. Yeah, he was a limited participant on Wednesday, but a full participant since. Maybe that was the justification. It had honestly some similar vibes to what we saw last year in the wild card game, where it's like, oh, interesting, he flipped McLaughlin for Bidet. He must have some sort of plan for Bidet today. And then it's like, nope, he plays a snap. And so I was confused about that. It seemed like maybe the RJ Harvey breakout game, that would be maybe one reason to do it. That didn't even materialize. It's puzzling. Maybe it is the injury. I will say, as weird as it is, it's not a move I like. I'm not too hung up on it. I don't know how much it ultimately changed for this team, but I'd agree. I didn't like it. Some people agreeing with the kind of what you guys are saying here, blaming largely Sean Payton and the offensive line from Dom Mars. I'll follow up on that, because the offensive line is definitely something we should discuss. William Catalano on the other end of the spectrum here saying, besides a few play calls, he thinks Sean was all right. Not awesome or anything, but not terrible either. They're saying D Bronx, though, saying Payton looked like Nate Hackett out there. And I wouldn't go that far, but I do think this was a really rough Payton game. And I want us to, like, I don't agree with 104.3, the fan, very often, or their commentators very often. I will give credit to Mike Evans for one tweet he put out, though, because I did think it was pretty dead on, where he's like, gosh, what was the exact verbiage on it? But man, credit to Pat Shurmur for the Buffs offense looking great yesterday, and shout out to Robert Livingston for the defensive struggles, or blame Robert Livingston for the defensive struggles, or all the players. I'm totally butchering this. His general point was, man, it's crazy how the defense does well, and it's Vance Joseph, it's the players, man, these guys are great. The offense does well, and it's, whoa, look at Bo Nix, look at these offensive skill players, they're dialed in. And if the offense struggles, it sure as hell ain't the players, it's Sean Payton's fault for holding them back. And I think there's a lot of truth to that. I think if you put Justin Herbert on, or not even Justin, if you put a mid-level starter on this team, I think they're 6-0 right now. I think for all the stuff about they're not opening up the offense, there's not stuff downfield, whenever I watch it back, and I haven't watched this game back yet, so I don't know. But the first 5 times this year, I've heard, why isn't Sean letting Bo throw the ball downfield? And then I watched the game back, and it's like, no, Bo's not letting Bo throw the ball downfield. We saw Cortland Sutton getting into it with Bo Nix on the sideline about this. That was about Sutton being wide open and Bo not throwing the ball his way. Like, the design of these offensive plays aren't the Bo. Now I'm going to dial up Pat Bryant 15 yards downfield for you. He's going to be wide open. I want you to not throw it to him. I want you to throw it to the covered check down instead. Like, if Sean Payton was doing that, I'm with you guys. This is a huge problem. I would so strongly doubt that is what's happening here. And this was a really strong game from Bo. That's not generally the case. Today was today was really bad from Sean Payton. That's not generally the case, but I do think, man, we got to hold him accountable today. There's a number of play calls that are head scratching. You're trying to run out the clock rather than handing it to J.K. Dobbins. You do the weird Marvin Mims end around thing that almost goes disastrously wrong. You've got the fullback draw on 3rd and 10.
Oh, that was the worst.
That's the worst. That's one of the worst play calls I've seen from any Broncos play caller as long as I've been watching the team. there was some weird exchange between Peyton and Bo after the fact, where I wonder if there was a miscommunication or Bo killed a play he shouldn't have killed or something. I'm because that play call makes no sense. And there was some weird exchange between the coach and quarterback after the fact. If that was the play call, unexcusable. It's one of the worst calls I've ever seen. The penalties are a big problem. That persists with this team. I wouldn't blame Peyton for the Parrot ones because I think that's just a player realizing they're getting beat. And like, I don't think that. Anyways, but yeah, this was a sloppy team. I mean, it's been a sloppy team all year. They haven't lived up to expectations. That falls on like the overall team order and organization and them not being as good as we wanted them to be this year. That's ultimately on Peyton. And yeah, so I'd give Bo like a 7 or an 8 for this week. I'd give Peyton like a 2. And my closing thought is that's about this week. And I just want us all to be like, man, a guy could have a bad week and we're not man overboard on him. That's my closing thought. I'm sorry guys. This London game's got me all thrown off kilter.
You're doing great.
Let's get into the phases of this game, a little broader on offense, defense, special teams. There's a whole lot to talk about. Fellas, what would you grade the 3 units of the Broncos in this one? I saw a good tweet from someone where they were like, offense blank, defense blank, special teams blank, and it got my mind churning. This time, Mike, I'll start with you. What grade would you give the offense, defense, and special teams?
I'm going to start with special teams. When we hired Rizzy, like this was his guy, right? You know, this was Sean Payton's guy, and I'm disappointed in our special teams. I got to be honest with you. Like good field position, that's what I want. I want us to pin, them back. I want us to cover the kickoffs well. I want us to tackle better on special teams, all those little things. And, Crawshaw had a 68-yard punt today, 62-yard punt, and averaged 48.5 yards. He had a nice day. Lutz made the kicks he had to make. But honestly, our special teams, I got to give them like a D today. I don't think I need to explain to too many people out there. They're bad. They make me uneasy. I don't trust us to pin anybody down on kickoff, especially the kickoff game. That always scares me. And returning kickoffs, we're not getting anything there, and we should be. So I'll go D there. Offense, I will go D again. I mean, we don't have to rehash all the reasons, but I mean, they won the game. They scored 13 points or whatever. What do they have? Like 200 yards total, 240 or something like that. I mean, it was ridiculous. I like, again, Zach, I like what you said. Like, really kind of a strangely good game from Bo. Love to see Ingram, who was our number 1 receiver today, by the way. And like that they're getting him involved, but just very reminiscent of the quote unquote older Broncos. Like Zach said, we finally remember like these few games, but like these guys have just been kind of bad for so long that we get really excited about some things we do. But if you look at it objectively, that was a D offensive effort today. Like just especially the second half was just bad. Defense is A plus. Let's 82 total yards for the Jets, negative 10 yards passing. This is half of our team, guys. This is A plus for the defense. I think David said it. This is Super Bowl winning type defense. So very lopsided on our team, but it's still the team. So thank God for that defense.
What say you, David?
Yeah, I'll piggyback first on the defense. Yeah, A+ performance, negative 10 passing yards, 9 sacks. We have 15 sacks in the last 2 weeks. That's insane.
Really quick, the stat David just cited, I would just interrupt because it's topical. 9+ sacks and less than 10 completions. That's happened 5 times since
Yeah.
the turn of the century,
Wow.
including today. So you have that worst passing performance in 27 years and all that, a pretty impressive showing by the defense. Sorry,
Wow.
continue, David.
Yeah, and just coming up with big time plays and big time sacks when it mattered the most, closing out this game, man. I'm so thankful we don't have to talk about Riley Moss this week. About how weird of a player
That's
he is.
right.
Like, thank God we can take a break from that. Alex
Yeah.
Singleton, we can take a break from crapping on him, man. Wazarike, shout out to him getting a sack.
Zach.
That was awesome. Well, I
Mhm.
think we had like 5-6 different guys that got sacks today. That was
8.
phenomenal. 8. We had 8 different guys.
I
that
think
got
so.
sacked.
I think I saw that somewhere today. 8 different players had sacks today.
I'll look that up really quick. That is nuts if true. That's got to be.
I hope I'm right. 'Cause
That would have to be an NFL record. I mean,
That'd
I
be
don't know.
so
I'm talking out of
exciting.
my ass.
I'd like to
But
be right just
we're
once
definitely
on
on
this show.
pace to, I would imagine, get north of that 70 sack mark that I really want us to hit this year. So,
They're-
yeah, they give me, or I give them an A for that. Broncos offense and special teams, I'll give the offense a D, like Mike. And this does feel a little not forgiving, but I'm going to give our special teams an F, even though they didn't give up a touchdown today. And Lutz made that field goal, just allowing way too many big kickoffs for a team that has struggled. And then let's talk about the fake punt.
That everybody knew was coming. Mhm.
Yeah, because I didn't realize this at the time, that the Jets put in all their offensive linemen. So it's like an obvious thing that they called out. I don't understand, and maybe this is a Sean Payton thing, ultimately his decision. If you sub out the correct guys on the defensive line, if they're just putting offensive linemen up there, if you get the right personnel out there, I mean, they barely got it, even though we didn't get a good review of that, thanks to the broadcast. I think they barely got the foot that they needed for that. But you could have called a timeout, put the right personnel, and that might have forced them to get out of that look had you called the timeout. But I just that had the potential to be a very nice momentum changer for us. It ended up being a non-factor because Aaron Glenn decided to run out the clock, not even take a Hail Mary shot at the end of the half. I don't even know what he was doing. But special teams, man, they've just been inconsistent. I haven't liked how really the coverage has been. Punts, kickoffs. We're letting too many times crouch us punting well. The field position still flip. I hate that.
Yeah, special teams, man. It's you're probably right. Just F. They probably deserve that F, but again,
I don't know. I feel like I'm a little harsh.
With the punting being what it was, and Lutz not missing, like we kind of needed those.
Yeah.
I'll just go D. I'm gonna stay with my D, but I understand why you're giving them an F. It's frustrating to have somebody like Mims returning kicks and not getting to the 30, and yet other teams are getting to the 40 and a half. Like
Yeah.
I think the longest drive tonight, David, do you know, before I ask you, do you know the answer to this?
The longest drive we had?
Do you know that the Jets had tonight?
Oh.
I'm going to spoil it for you. 37 yards.
Dude, that's insane.
That's their longest drive of the night. Their longest scoring drive, I think, was 31 yards. And then all the rest of their drives were like 8 yards for 3 points, 1 yard for 3 points. Like the defense, that score, I'm letting it all out, man. That score should have been fucking, what was Miami? Should have been 71 to 6. We should have outdone that, the Miami thing, and erased that from our memories. There's no reason this game should have been like it was. It was just like last year's Jets game. Like, I don't know what it is about those guys, but I don't ever want to play them again, and I don't ever want to go to London again.
If you remove those 2 Matt Parrott holding penalties, the kickoff return, the Troy Franklin fumble, I think we are talking about a 31-3, 27-3 game. That's probably what and it might have even been a shutout, because at that point you're talking about such a negative game script for the Jets that they would have had to been in so many obvious passing situations, and the Broncos were teeing off whenever the Jets did drop back. I'd agree with you on the special teams. For me, it's like a D. I think Lutz hitting those 50+ yarders is big. I really do question his range, or questioned. I have some lingering questions still, but I really questioned his 50+ range at the start of this year. He's hit a 55-yarder and a 57-yarder in the past couple weeks here. Huge
And we
for the
needed
Broncos
him.
coming away with these W's, especially this week. They win by 2. You know, who knows if he misses that 59-yarder, if they get the win in this one. I will also push back on Mims a little bit. I think he could be better maybe, but I think he's largely, and today was not his best day, but I think he's largely been one of the better returners in the league. But yeah, if I were to sum up, if there was one single stat, and I think it's the only stat that does it, to try and capture that this was a close game outside of the final score, I think it'd be average starting field position. Because I think anything else, success rate, EPA, yardage, anything else would point to this being a pretty one-sided affair.
Yeah.
The fact that the Jets were consistently, I think their average starting field position was about their own 40-yard line. That's just a game changer. That's largely on the special teams. And then the
It had
defense,
to be, Zach. Yeah.
Yeah, the defense, I think that's an A+ performance. I'm right there with you guys. Really impressive stuff. There's some specific players I want to spotlight. We'll get into once I start throwing those options out there. But great, like literally a historically great performance from the defense. We were talking about the sacks. They did have 8 players notch at least half a sack, as Big Mike's pointing out in the chat. That's pretty darn far out. And they are, I mean, this defense is starting to build up a resume where they'll be mentioned with the defense of last year and the 2015 Broncos defense. So far this season, they have 29 sacks as a team. That puts them on pace. We're, a third of the way through the season, slightly over. That puts them on pace to shatter last year's mark, where they were 70-some. Or 63, excuse me, 63 sacks. They're on pace to shatter that. And then, as Big Mike also noted in the chat, 52 sacks is what the 2015 Broncos had. They already have more than half that count through 6 weeks. That has been
crazy.
That pass rush in 2015 is, I'm sure we all remember, was insane. I got to shout out Brown Panda for a big old super chat. Can't let this go overlooked anymore. Brown Panda saying, imagine a Mike Shanahan offense paired with defense. Stylistically, or I'm assuming he means with this defense. Stylistically, This is a terrible offensive pairing with this defense. Did y'all expect the same thing I did in the fourth quarter, that the defense would wear out? I will say, I'm not worried about like the stylistic match between this offense and defense. I think it's kind of great that with this offense being more middling, you have a defense that can suffocate the opponent, but also create some big swings, some big splash plays with the sacks, and hopefully the takeaways start following here. As for, did I think they were going to give out? Absolutely. I think everyone, well, I won't speak for you guys, but a lot of the people I was with down at the radio station, when they got the ball back, or the Jets got the ball back, it was like, oh, here we go. Another game-winning field goal as time expires coming up. But credit to the defense, and I tweeted this out, and I don't think the Chargers and Colts loss were on them, but in those moments when game is on the line, can you come up with a stop right here to just end the game and not leave it up to the special teams, not leave it up to the offense, just end the game right here? You're supposedly the best defense in the league. What are you going to do? Came up a little short in the Chargers game, arguably came up so short in the Colts game, though that one was complicated, penalties, messy, whatever. This week, they did not come up short. They needed to get that stop. They got that stop. Broncos win as a result. Guys, what do you think about this comment? I'll throw it back up on the screen. David, how would you respond?
Yeah, I never thought our defense would lose gas in terms of like gassing out. I knew that they were going to make it difficult. The problem is that the field position that you brought up, Zach, and I mean, they didn't have to go very far at all on that last drive. So the margin for error there basically is none, and so I don't know about gassing out, but they had like the deck stacked against them big time. So yeah, I was nervous on that last drive. I did not see us not even holding them from having a field goal attempt. But there's always hope when we play the Jets. I mean, didn't they miss their field goal last year at the end of the game for I forget, did we miss the field goal too? I can't even remember,
I
how
think
that whole thing
there's a couple
went.
misses.
It was like back-to-back field goal misses, but yeah, they came up huge today. Now, if they play Tyrod Taylor instead of Justin Fields, maybe this is a little bit different. But I felt that entire second half, man. If the Broncos can just punch it in one more time, get a touchdown, we got this game, because I didn't feel like we were going to let them in the end zone no matter how good their field position was. And we got lucky. We scored 3 points in the second half, and that turned out to be just enough.
Big Mike
Yeah.
noting that the Broncos are at 30 sacks so far this season. Just point out, because that's a nice round number. 5 sacks a game. That's crazy. Averaging 5 sacks, and that's in what they got 6 last week, 9 this week. So it's fluffed up a little, but like that's there's a advanced analytics stat I love that with the advent of EPA and us being able to measure like the impact of individual plays a little more accurately than just yardage. We found that the average sack is equal to about 1/3 of an interception in terms of like the value being created by the defense. So they're like, the turnovers haven't come yet for this defense, and that's disappointing. But if they keep racking up sacks like this, I mean, 5 sacks a game, that's nearly 2 interceptions a game right there. So that's
what
pretty
is
sweet.
that, 75 for the year?
Yeah, that'll be
75.
75 for the year. That'd be, or wait, am I doing math? 65 for the year? No, 85 for the year. I'm blanking. 85. Right?
I can't do math right
17.
now.
18 would be 18 would be 90.
18 would be 90, and then you could take
85.
the 5. Yeah, take the 5 back.
Yeah, there we go.
That man, the fact that we needed 3 people to do what 5 times
Simple
17.
math.
How many
That's
degrees?
the downside of a London game and all of us waking up at like 5 a.m. this morning.
These are advanced stats, folks.
If this is Big Mike, because we're all talking right now, could you check that for us really quick? Big Mike's saying that he has to double check this, but he thinks the team in second place for sacks is the Lions at 16.
Oh my God.
That is, if true, that is one of the craziest stats I've heard for this entire NFL season from any team. Wow.
Hey, back on Brown Panda real quick. I did not.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, Mike.
I did not think the defense was going to wear out. This wasn't that type of game. The type of game where that happens is when they have a 80-yard drive for a touchdown, and then you come out on offense and you go 3 and out and you kick it right back to them, and then they do another 80-yard, whatever, and you got to hold them somehow. This game was not like that at any point. And just going back to the defense was so dominant, like their scoring drive. Yeah, I think I said this before. Like they had a scoring drive of 8 yards, 1 yard, and then I think that one 30-yard drive. Like at the end of the game, when they were in the fourth quarter, when they were driving, quote unquote driving, I think Zach said they didn't have very far to go. That you could already see that line that they put up there that said, "Here's here's the field goal line." And I'm like, holy shit, the first down marker's right next to it. Like they don't have to go anywhere. And yeah, I was on live with Ben this morning on Sports Talk Denver, and he kept saying, I'm not nervous. And I right about then he's like, okay, now I'm nervous. And I'm like, yeah, this is where we're gonna lose the game. They only need to get, when they got that first down. I can't believe Aaron Glenn didn't try and kick that field goal there. They went for the first down, and then they gave Cooper a chance to close it out. So fourth, the defense did not wear out, nor did I think they would.
You had that terrible mismanagement from him, but then also at the end of the first half, I mean, that could have been points for the Jets right there. That was very weird. End of half management, either first or second half, I think I've ever seen from a head coach.
Didn't he go for it on fourth down on a drive to keep the drive alive and then punt later?
Oh,
on the same drive?
Possibly. There was so many.
He did, but I was so dumbfounded that happened. It was like, what are you doing?
Well, there was in the second half, in the fourth quarter, maybe with like 8 minutes left, it was 4th and 1, maybe on like their own 30 or so. And he called a timeout. So
Yeah,
everybody's
and then punted.
thinking they're going to come out and go for it. And he just called the timeout to punt. It was the Coach
Yeah.
Prime special, baby.
Yeah, that's not even the one I'm talking about. I'm pretty sure they went for it on 4th, got it, and then punted later.
Yeah.
Like I don't understand how you're really aggressive, but just for a second. Now I'm going to go back to punting. It was just a weird, like both head coaches are probably
Hey,
need
but
to
how
look at
about this?
themselves in the mirror.
Sean Payton for the 2nd straight week, out coaching the opponent, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I will say, as bad as he was, and I tweeted out, as bad as he was, it is great that Glenn was as bad as he was, because I think it's a great exercise in perspective. One, Peyton not good enough today was a problem, contributed to the Broncos nearly losing this game in a major way. Two, look across the sideline. That's what the Broncos had for damn near a decade between Gary Kubiak and Sean Payton. Because you can go right back to that real quick. And we
don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. And we judge him harder too, because he's our, it's like if the offense does bad, then Sean Payton, head coach, did a shitty job this game. But if the head coach, who's not the main OC, like, how much is he coaching his time management stuff, his timeouts, when he calls a review, when he decides we're going to punt or not punt, when we're going to be aggressive, when we're going to turtle? Like, all in all, you can, if you wipe off the fact that, yes, he is the offensive coordinator of this team, even if you separate that, this was still a pretty shitty game by Sean Payton by any measure. Like, you can't even make up for it by saying, well, the defense did this and, he did this. He really had a bad game. Yeah. There's no way around it.
It's the worst we've seen. He even started kind of messing up the clock management ahead of what could have been a game-winning field goal. Yeah. Doing the exact same thing he did against the Colts in terms of the timeout management. That was very frustrating. While we're you know what, Broncos standouts, I want us to close positive here. And there's some negatives that I forgot to mention earlier, so I'll just set myself up here. Some players that stood out to me for the wrong reasons today that I've got to mention. First, the offensive line and Matt Parrott. Matt Parrott is the loudest example. Had bad penalties. It was really bad in pass protection all game long. That said, the whole offensive line was rough. I mean, Quinn Miners, this was the worst game I've seen from him in a long time. He gives up the lead with that offensive holding penalty and got crushed on that rep too. That's just a terrible rep from him. Extremely costly one too. So wanted to touch on that. I thought that was really rough. And then on special teams, you guys mentioned it. I didn't. What the hell, Darren Rizzi? I mean, if you know a fake punt is coming, there is no reason why you can't stop it. And Sean Payton said in his post-game press conference, this is a Sean Payton quote, "I think my wife knew a fake punt was coming there." Everyone, and he wasn't saying that to dog Rizzi. It was part of some other greater answer, but everyone knew a fake punt was coming there. They didn't sub their offensive line out. The Jets did. And normally you'll have maybe a special team offensive line or whatever. No one subbed out. They kept their whole starting offensive line out there. And Breece Hall. It was as obvious as you're ever going to get a fake punt to be. And I saw a comment. I'm not going to try and refine it because I also don't want to pick on the guy. But going, I'm not too mad about the fake punt. It's 4th and 1. Hard to stop a team doing what's pretty much a tush push. Then why doesn't every team do that on 3rd and 1 or 4th? Why doesn't if it's so hard to stop? Why doesn't every team just line a punter way back there and direct snap it to the running back? Because it's not great. Almost any other end one play would be better. You are playing 10-on-10 football, but you have the option, if you're that confident that it's going to be a fake, play 11-on-10 football. Dare them to punt it over your head. Force them to punt it over your head, frankly, and change the math if you are that certain. Also, it's a first. If it's the second half and you're in a tight game, you're losing, you don't want to use a timeout there. That's one. It's the first half. Call a timeout. We're also first half towards the end of the half, and you're trying to preserve an opportunity of getting the ball back.
Yeah, I know.
Call the timeout. I mean, every element of that was baffling from Rizzi. But I needed to get that ran off my chest. But the spotlight player I wanted to point out, man, Matt Parrott and the rest of this offensive line, You want to talk about like, I think half the reason the offense turtled in the second half was they saw what the Jets offense looked like. I think the other half was they looked at what their offensive line was doing and went, there's a chance Bo Nix gets hit on the blind side and it's a fumble on our own 20 in this game. There's a chance he's hit as he's thrown and it's an interception. If we're going to lose this game, it might be the offensive line losing it for us. And that is, I'm not concerned about a lot of things in this game. The one thing I am concerned about right now is the offensive line, because not only Bo Nix, but the entire offense is built on, like we've seen what Bo Nix is without pressure, which is why I mentioned him. But so much of this offense is built on the foundation of we've got one of the best offensive lines in the league. And today it was bad. And I think that's why everything crumbled. And Ben Powers ain't coming back anytime soon. So that's my negative spotlight, fellas.
Question: did we run any personnel with Palcho out there?
We did.
That seemed to have been our bread and butter.
Jumbo. And on that point, I'll only add this because I saw a comment about it. Parrott was the option over Palcho at guard because the Broncos, or Sean Payton has done this forever. And I think the theory behind it is smart, that he has a swing left side and a swing right side. So you're not forcing a tackle to be ambidextrous or a guard to be ambidextrous. It's just kicking inside or outside. In theory, I think that's pretty smart. Parrott is that swing left guy. They're going to have to experiment with Calvin Throckmorton, a street free agent, or a trade, because maybe it was just a terrible game. Whatever.
Terrible
game.
Well,
yeah, but I mean, maybe it was just a single game thing. I'm not very optimistic with that outlook. I think they've got to do something.
These guys are professional athletes, man. Try Palcho in there, see if it works. If not, Throckmorton.
I'm with you.
Yeah, but Palcho's a professional athlete. You can play left guard, bro.
Somebody asked me earlier, why did they do that? Sorry, Zach, but somebody asked me why did they do that, and I thought, well, this way you're only replacing one player. You know, you're taking Powers out, you're putting Parrott in. If you put Palcho in there, then somebody else has to go do the jumbo package. And then I said, maybe that was the thought, but I said, I don't care what the thought was. It didn't work. And it better not be out there against the Giants, who are not coming to give us a win.
They got a good defensive line.
They're coming to get Bo Nix. So yeah, Zach, you're right. That's not going to be good enough.
And Dexter Lawrence on the interior, but they've shown they'll be very creative with how they employ those four guys, or deploy, those four guys. Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau, Abdul Carter, and Dexter Lawrence. They will line them up and down that offensive line. So if you have a glaring weak point, like the Broncos might right now at left guard, Giants are circling that. They're going to be going right at it all game long. Something the Broncos have to figure out. I want to highlight this Big Mike comment saying, let's just trade for Joel Bitonio. Man, he's right there. I saw someone else mention that on X today, and I think it's a good point. The Browns are probably in sell mode. They're entering an extreme rebuild. They need draft capital. Broncos found a free third-round pick pretty much with that Devon Villay trade. You should not have gotten nearly that much. Or it's a fourth rounder, but top of the fourth round. You should not have gotten nearly that much for Villay. I would feel fine trading the Broncos third-round pick or something, especially for a guy like Bitonio, who is maybe a multi-year high-end solution. Giants love to line up Carter over the guards. They moved Thibodeau inside too. They're plenty creative, so got to watch out for that one, or it could get ugly in a hurry.
How do you help a guard, Zach? A fullback or something? Like, it's hard to help a guard.
With the center,
the center's busy, and so's the left tackle. It's like,
and Wattenberg had some ugly reps in this one. I mean, it's not the name, but he had one. I noted it.
He's thanking Parrott right now for having such a shitty game that we're not talking about him. The offensive line as a whole, like you said, they're terrible. Even Miners with a bad game. The O-line was really rough.
Big Mike saying if he plays offensive guard, he'll be better than Pert. I might not be.
I don't doubt it.
Far off. I hate to say it.
Big Mike's feisty in the chat sometimes. You can tell
he is. I enjoy the spice. Who do you guys? Unless you don't have anybody else, we can move to positive.
I do.
But I'm glad, David. Who do you want to negatively spotlight?
Dude, if there's when you're going up against a terrible football team, the last thing you want to do is just give them confidence at the beginning of the game that they'll be able to stick around. And what does Troy Franklin do after a wonderful third down throw, facing pressure from Bo Nix, dude? Troy Franklin's got to drop the ball. He's got to fumble the ball on the first possession. It just set the tone of this being a bad and ugly game. That pisses me off, man, because I was hoping that this team would come out fired up and offended that they weren't the biggest spread of the weekend. Right? And what do we see on that first possession, man? Troy Franklin fumbling the ball.
Yeah.
It just breathes life into a lifeless Jets team. And we saw them fight. I mean, they weren't going to throw the ball. That's on coaching, I think, not putting a guy behind there that they can call pass plays with. They fought, man. And it set the tone right there with the Troy Franklin mistake. That pissed me off.
Yeah, and Zach, I don't have a negative. I had Parrott for mine. It cost us 2 scores for sure. I don't know if they would have been touchdowns or field goal, but cost us 2 scores. And I was so pissed at Troy Franklin. I believe, like what David said, like that kind of stuff sets the tone. You always say don't let a team believe, don't give them hope. The Jets came out after the first half, and they looked like they were fired up. Like they were faster than us. They had more energy than us. We were flat. It was scary for a while.
Yeah.
And it's stuff like that gives them hope. We should have buried them, and we don't have it yet. We're not there yet.
There were parallels to this Jets game last year because I think the Jets, did they have a slight winning record, or were at like 2-2 or something like that when we played them last year? And if y'all don't remember,
it was the beginning of the season. It was like the first 4 games.
Yeah, I think the Jets won a couple or something.
Yeah.
I don't even know, but they were favored in that game. We weren't favored to win in New York, and we forced a turnover on that first New York Jets possession. And they just allowed us to stick around the whole game until we got the lead there in the third or fourth quarter. I can't remember, but
wasn't it the 10-9 game in the pouring rain though? Yeah. That was ugly for several reasons, but different. This game was ugly for different reasons, man. I mean, Joe Flacco has been a Bengal for 5 minutes, and they put up 18 points. We can't put up 18 points. Isn't that where Flacco went, to the Bengals or something?
Yeah.
Like he was there for 2 days, and their offense they probably had more yards and points than we did today. Like there's no excuse to be that.
Blame Matt Parrott. This team puts up over 20 points in the first half, if not for Matt Parrott.
Yeah.
And to that point, D Bronx pointing this out, Franklin would have had a much better day, at least statistically, if not for Parrott wiping away a huge game from him. He did bounce back pretty nice. I am a little worried with Franklin just because I think the problem with Franklin has never been talent. It's largely been last year. There was some talent things. He was a little too light and whatever, but it's so mental, like the drops thing. It's like, the ball's right there for you. You just got to catch it. That's a mental thing. The reasons he wasn't on the field as much last year is like all mental stuff, or not all, largely mental stuff. And you're starting to see, even though it wasn't a drop today, but just some things trot back up. The fumble today, the drop against the Chargers, drop against who was that? The Bengals the next week. Didn't have anything against the Eagles, but now we are talking about, 3 of the last 4 weeks, Troy Franklin has some weird mental mistake that's fairly costly. The Chargers one would have been, though it was negated by a different offensive penalty, so the drop didn't even count. But it was a drop in the end zone, so definitely would have been costly if not negated by that penalty. And it is a little bit of a red flag to me because it's not a talent thing. It is him getting in his head about these things. And man, if I was in his shoes and I have a mess up like that, a mistake like that, 3 out of 4 weeks, I'm going to start thinking as that ball's flying through the air towards me, oh my God, I got to catch this one. And I think that's when the problem can start compounding. So echoing that, a little worried about Franklin. Mike, before we go to positives, is there anyone else you want to highlight?
No, I don't have any specific negatives for players other than Parrott, actually. I mean, the offensive line in general, but I'm not that down on Troy, to be honest with you. I was pissed about it, but I thought he had a bounce back game too. I thought he played fine.
I'll steal yours, and it's kind of an addendum to my offensive line one. But the run game, I mean, I do think that should be this team's identity. And you have J.K. Dobbins going 40 yards on 14 carries, R.J. Harvey 4 yards on 2 carries, so 44 on 16 overall, under 3 yards per carry on those designed running back runs. Like, just not good. And that's why I kind of made as big of a deal about Parrott as I did. Like, so much of this offense's foundation is on being like, we saw them kind of find their identity in week 4 and week 5. And it was this like mauling kind of run first team. And then we asked Bo to kind of manage the offense from there. They could not establish that identity in this game because the run was being bottled up all like, and as bad as the stats I just shared were, they were a lot worse in the first half. So I just, it's got to be better than that. Hopefully that's a product of like, the Jets defense ranked top 3 in rushing success rate allowed. Like only 30% of runs against them were successful entering this week. So stuff runs a lot. Yeah, they stuff runs a lot. Hopefully, what the hell's going on here?
Dude, how are you winless with that kind of stat, man?
Yeah, I would. Sorry, about the comments. I wouldn't click on that unless you want a virus.
No, we got those today too on ours.
But let's go to positives, fellas. Mike, why don't you hit us with a positive player or a player that stood out to you for positive reason?
It's strange. I've got quite a few that I thought had pretty good standout game. But that Adkins played really well. Sternad had a good game, and but I don't want to say too many names because I'm going to steal somebody else. So I got to be careful. So if I have to go to one though, I'm going to go with Coop. I know he had 2 sacks on the night, but he was all over the field, and he had the game-winning sack on a defense that dominated. He stood out, and gosh, he's just one of our best players, and he showed it tonight. What a great football player. So kudos to Coop. Without getting into the stats, I don't even know what his numbers are. I think he had a couple tackles, a few assists, but the 2 sacks, a lot of pressure. I mean, he had a great game. So on a defense that was fantastic, I'm gonna shout out my guy Coop with just a great game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love the Jonathan Cooper shout out. He's near the top of my list too. Awesome game from him. He and Benito combined now, I think, have 12.5 sacks so far this season.
Beautiful.
That duo's averaging over 2 sacks a game. I mean, right now playing like the best pass rush duo in the league. They don't have the name recognition of like what the Texans have right now, but the way they're producing is unreal. Happy to see Jonathan Cooper get some sacks back after Benito stole a couple from him the first 5 weeks. David, what do you think?
Yeah, man, I love this duo, and I think we're just scratching the surface, man, with this defense. Because now, sorry if I'm stealing your thunder, Zach, but
no,
we got another great safety wearing the orange and blue. Talanoa Hufanga. He was phenomenal today. He had what could have been, I think, maybe the game-saving pass breakup there. At the end. Am I getting that correct? Right?
No, you're dead on. You're dead on. If he doesn't hit, and I saw D Bronx calling it the same thing earlier. It absolutely is the game saving play.
Yeah. So that was a great hit that he had, and getting that ball out of Garrett Wilson's arms. He also had a couple tackles for loss and a sack, man. He was all over the place. And I just love how Denver Broncos, we always have very good safeties. And Talanoa Hufanga, man, if he continues to play this way, I might end up mentioning him later on with some of my favorite Broncos safeties ever.
Love it.
I'm with it. He's been awesome. He's like right now the best version of what Kareem Jackson ever was. It is so great having that presence, fly around the field, being an enforcer. He's just everywhere. He's making plays. It is right now. I think the Dre Greenlaw signing, he hasn't gotten on the field. It's like the worst case scenario on that one so far. Hufanga's been the best case scenario so far. He looks like the second team All-Pro from a few years back. He's been absolutely amazing. Like the ball production hasn't been there yet, which he'll need to get an All-Pro nod, but I'm over the moon with him. And I wanted to highlight this comment from Rox Walker or Rock X Walker here saying he really was the missing piece last year, because I think he's one of them. And I think if you plug Dre Greenlaw into this defense, and I do think it's an if at this point, I'm fairly worried, but or if in terms of how long he's in it, but when those two are, this defense is going to have little to no weaknesses for the opponent to exploit. And that I want to watch it so bad, because I saw it in training camp. Like they didn't have Greenlaw in bubble wrap all training camp long, when it was just media only. I saw him flying around out there, and for like the way we're talking about Hufanga right now, that's how everyone in media, myself included, was talking about Dre Greenlaw when we got to see him running around out there in July, because he was all over the place. He was making interceptions. He was batting balls up. I am praying that quad is healthy.
I gotta get him out.
However, Jason Tatum got his Achilles sorted out. Get this man get Jonathan, or not Jonathan Cooper. What was it? Get Dre Greenlaw a quad the same way, because man, we need it. Hufanga was one of the guys I was going to spotlight. Mike, do you have anything you want to add on Hufanga before I highlight my last guy here?
Man, he before the show, like he was probably my second for sure. Like probably would have been my second pick. He had a monster game, and the fact that I about shit my pants when he was out and questionable to return with a wrist injury says how big he is to this team. Like I was worried, like where is he? Is he okay? I'm like trying to live stream and I'm just searching Twitter. Like I'm trying to get, I was worried. Like I still, Zach, like you said, with Greenlaw and Hufanga, the middle of our defense is, it's going to be fixed, man. And then I don't know what teams are going to do anymore. Like, I just don't have any idea how they're going to beat us. 13 points might do it every game, you know, because it might have to, because I don't see our offense getting any better. I'm worried about our offense, but yeah, man, Hufanga, what a great signing and a great game tonight.
The last time the Broncos won a Super Bowl, or hell, I'll lower the bar. The last time the Denver Broncos won a playoff game, their offense was considerably worse than this. Considerably.
It was a while.
Yeah, and I would say also, not only that, they were playing in an era where there were more demands of offense. In 2015, offenses were much more productive than, generally speaking, than they were in 2024. The bar was higher and the offense was worse, and they won the Super Bowl. So now this defense hasn't reached historically great points yet, and you do want the offense to be better, yada yada. But I'll point that out as a point for optimism. Well, shoot, there was one other thing.
Evan Ingram, you got to give a little shout out to Evan Ingram.
Yes, Thank you for saving the transition there. That was the guy I thought it was a comment I wanted to highlight. It's stats. Evan Ingram is my standout of the game. I thought he was amazing today. Broncos needed him to be amazing today. Oh, shoot. Broncos needed him to be amazing today, and he was. And really, since the Eagles game, I think you're hopeful now that maybe he's starting to emerge or carve out the role that the Broncos hoped he would when he joined the team. And it wasn't just the production. I'll get the raw production numbers here because that was good. He finishes the day with 5 receptions. That leads the team, 42 yards. That also leads the team. But what really made Evan Ingram so special today wasn't the raw production. It was when it happened. Here's my game notes. First catch of the day, it's a 4th down conversion for about 10 yards. Second catch of the day, that's a 3rd down conversion for about 10 yards. It's on the same drive. That drive ultimately results on the Broncos' lone touchdown of the day. So getting that 4th down and 3rd down conversion is pretty huge. 4th target or 4th reception of the day is another conversion that comes on the Broncos' 4th drive, and then he gets the Broncos' first conversion since the 11-minute mark of the second quarter. He gets that in the fourth quarter on a
Wow.
contested catch to get the Broncos offense off the mat. 4 of his 5 catches, and there's a chance I just mischarted whatever the 5th one was. 4 of his 5 guaranteed went for conversions, and I'd say 3 of those 4 were crucial, being 3rd or 4th downs on scoring drives, or actually, all of them are 3rd and 4th downs on scoring drives, and the last of them, I'd argue, the biggest first down of the game when they, I mean, it was 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, and then finally Evan Ingram gets that conversion. Mims gets one the next play or a couple plays after that, and they get the field goal that they needed to win the game. So Evan Ingram, hats off to him, not only making plays, but making plays in the biggest of moments.
Yeah, and some of those were tough catches too. I remember one was a poorly thrown ball that he had to and contested, and he had to go up and get it and get the first down. Yeah, just a really great game from him. Yeah, he's right there.
Yeah,
I don't have any other names though. Sloppy game. Did
No.
I say Adkins? Did I throw Adkins out there?
Adkins
No,
is a
but
good one to throw
shout
out
out to
there.
Root Beer.
He's
I
been
thought
great.
Atkins had a good game, man.
The blocking's been a nice addition to the run.
Mhm.
All right. I think that's our spotlight players. Last thing here, everybody, I know we're tired. Any closing thoughts / things on your mind as we look ahead to week 7 here?
Yes. I'm going to say it every year because I want us to stay aggressive. Shout out to Cody Barton, another interception this week. I don't care what it takes, man. Bring that guy back here. Bring him back here, the Titans. They're going to be blowing it up. I don't care. Do what it takes to get him on the offensive side of the ball. Sure, go get an offensive lineman, but you know who I really want? Mark Andrews. Go trade for Mark Andrews this week. The Ravens are done. Have him play Troutman's spot, and then we start talking about the Super Bowl, baby. That's how I feel about it. So Broncos, go make a move. Stay aggressive. Zach, you pointed out we got an extra, high 4th round pick. Let's entice somebody. And I don't even think we got to give that up for somebody like Mark Andrews in a contract year. So that has nothing to do with the Giants. I just want the Broncos to stay aggressive, man.
Yeah. And I think there's the old maxim of GMs want to enter the draft with 7 picks. I think that is a good rule of thumb. If you have more, like a little more, that's fine. Broncos are a little north of 7 right now, so they don't have to be trading picks, but they also have the reservoir where if you are trading picks to make a meaningful addition, I think it's worthwhile. And I think when making that calculation, it's not only how do we feel about the Broncos, because I think there's some case for maybe not wanting this young team to continue to grow, or thinking, hey, this team's not ready for a Super Bowl, let's not push our chips in yet. But for as much as it is about your own team, it's also about the landscape. And we might, as long as Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson are all playing football, we might not see an AFC as wide open as this one feels right now. Like I would, if I was the Broncos, I would be pushing some chips in, because I think this is a golden opportunity. You've got the defense and like the surrounding offensive talent. You need Bo to develop and take some leaps, but we've seen like Joe Burrow did that midway through his second year. So it's not, I don't think you take a leap that large, but Bo can continue to improve down the stretch and get this team where they need to be. Every other team in the AFC right now is super flawed. Push some chips in to shore up what you need to shore up. That's my closing thought. Mike, I'll let you have the final take here.
All right. Thank you, Zach. Thank you, David. You guys are the best. I don't know that the Broncos do this very often, bringing people in. They kind of make their moves in the off season, and then they just, that's the horse we rode. That's the one we're sticking with. But man, I would like to see it. We're at the top of the AFC West. Again, as Zach alluded to, like the AFC is flawed. Everybody's got flaws. I mean, the Patriots are look like one of the best teams all of a sudden. Like that tells you a lot. Like, not only is it weird that the Patriots are all of a sudden really good. May looks great, but the fact that the Ravens look like shit. The Chargers got really lucky to beat the Dolphins today. Okay, I say lucky, but that was a hell of a play. But I hate the Chargers, so I'm going to say they got lucky. Hopefully the Chiefs will get the crap beat out of them tonight. But hey, Rich, I think I saw his comment. These guys, the Broncos haven't been home since October 3rd. They got the Giants coming to town. If Dart is healthy, imagine if he's not. And guess who the quarterback's going to be for the Giants if he's not?
Would be fun.
We're going to get the Russell Wilson game, baby. How
And
fun would
I
that be? That's my final thought, other than the fact that this is absolutely the best time of my week for me, is these post games with you guys, man. Love it. Love that it's a win. Instead of a shitty loss, it's a shitty win. I'll take it. I'll take it.
And Mike, I lied because you fired me up with something you said, so I'm gonna have one more take here. I cannot stand the respect being given to the Giants right now. Is this a potential trap game, much like the Jets? Totally. You just saw the Eagles fall victim to that trap game. Don't mix that up with are the Giants a great team now? They're not.
Have you seen Cam Scatteraboo, baby? My draft crush. He's going to put up 120 yards on us when he comes to town. We're going to have to beat his ass.
I'll fade the hell out of that prediction right now, Mike. But I just I'm worried about this Giants defensive front some. Don't get me wrong. I could see it being a low scoring game for the offense. Oh my God. I cannot. They scored 13 points against the New Orleans Saints. They barely scored 20 the first time we saw Jackson Dart. It was fun last week against the Eagles. The Eagles got a lot of problems going on right now after that Broncos win or Broncos loss.
We broke them.
It feels that way a bit. And maybe I'm wrong. If Jackson Dart looks, also, he hasn't looked good in my opinion these first 3 weeks. If he looks decent against this Broncos defense, jaw drop. My downstairs neighbors are going to be calling a noise complaint on me. My jaw's going to hit the floor so hard. I just potential trap game. I'm not saying this is a chalked up win. I want to be clear about that.
All right.
But the idea that whoa, Broncos might be in trouble against this Giant. Did you see the Giants beat the Eagles worse than the Broncos beat the Eagles? I've heard too much of that the past few days. It's ridiculous. I can't handle it. The potential trap game, sure, but that's about all the respect. This is a bad Giants team that's going to be drafting top 10 with a new head coach in a few months. What are we doing here? Simmer it down a few notches, Broncos country. My Lord, you think
nobody knows how to push Zach's button better than me?
I'm telling you. I mean, I work with Giants fans, New York natives, and they don't think as highly of their team as I've seen some Broncos fans talking about it. It's a bad football team. And if the Broncos lose, we should hold them accountable. It shouldn't be that's a good Giants. No, they're bad at football. Okay, I'm done. Dart is him. I know D-Brox is joking.
Hey, we got 2 straight road wins right now. 2 straight road wins. It counts.
Hard spot.
We're the home team.
Yeah.
So, hey, we just take care of business at home against the Giants. We'll probably chalk up a few road wins. We're going to be right there for the division title.
Absolutely. Let's go.
Absolutely. Go Broncos. This team, I'll say this game, we saw Russell Wilson throw for 600 yards and they lost. The Broncos better win this game. All right. That's all. Everybody, check out David Talks Broncos. David Talks Buffs. Support his channels because YouTube's being slimy as hell. So please go over, support him, subscribe.
Thank you.
Like, comment. I meant to say this at the top, but please like, comment, subscribe wherever you're watching this. It always really helps us out. Mic'd Up, he's holding it up to you. How you spell it. Go find him, support his stuff out too. It's Mike Carmelini on the social medias. So check him out. He's also going to set you up with a bunch of other great folks in Broncos country if you go follow him. And then we'll be here Tuesday night with Altitude Adjustment, and then Wednesday night with another edition of Let's Talk Broncos. A little more wrapping up this one, a little looking ahead to next week. Until then, everybody, let's go Broncos. Let's beat the Giants.